Yo, what's going on, True Blazer fans? It's Tori, and I'm back with a Monday mailbag. From me and from Eric here at True Blazer Fan, we hope that you have a great Christmas and a safe holiday, and hopefully your holiday is capped off by a win from the Blazers tomorrow night against the Jazz. Now, because it is Christmas, there might not be highlights for that game tomorrow night. You know, that's a pretty jam-packed day for all of us, I'm sure. So it's definitely tough because Eric, what he does is he sits down, watches the game through, and takes notes during the game that helps him make his highlights. But with family over and that type of thing, it might not be possible. So there might be a Christmas surprise for you guys, but I wouldn't count on highlights tomorrow night. So I'm going to keep this Monday mailbag short because I also have to release a game recap here in a few hours. And there was only a few questions that weren't trade questions. If you have trade questions, make sure to go ask them on the trade idea video that I posted a couple days ago. And any other questions, it can be with the channel, it can be with Blazer basketball in general, rotation questions, scheme questions, that type of thing. Leave them down in the comment section below and I'll answer them next week. But since we only had 3 or 4 questions, this is going to be a shorter Monday mailbag. And we're going to jump straight into it with Dylan Block. He says, whatever happened to talking ball for pre and post games? Now it's replaced by Blazers Outsiders. This has been a hot topic in Blazers community. I've talked a bit before with Dan Meringue, who's one of the hosts on the show, who actually started off posting in a forum that I post on. So I kind of saw him migrate from that over to making content for Blazers Edge to now he has his TV show. Now I've told him this as well, but I think that TV show is being a little bit miscast as a post-game show. In my opinion, in a post-game show, I like to see analysis of specific plays during that game, a specific style of basketball that the Blazers played. That would be very helpful for my post-game analysis as well. Being able to draw from that and being able to see some of the things that those guys see on Talking Ball. But now you got Blazers Outsiders as the post-game show, and I think it's being miscast as that. I think Blazers Outsiders would be perfect after Talking Ball, just something to wind down the night. It has more of a podcast vibe to me. They read out live comments from Facebook Live, that type of thing. That's more of a podcast segment. It would work better, in my opinion, if they went back to the types of shows they were doing, what, twice a week before they got this post-game gig. Now, NBC Sports Northwest thinks that this was a better show for the market. They think that this is what people wanted, and I don't really understand why they think that, but I am pretty disappointed that there's no more Talking Ball, and that's not shade thrown at Blazers Outsiders. It's definitely hard to accept something that's new, so I think those guys get a little bit too much flack. Dan knows his stuff, he does a good job. Joe Simons is a good host, and I think they're just in the wrong time slot or the wrong role as a post-game show, in my opinion. Hamad Randawa. I probably said that wrong, my bad if I did, but they say, what do you think of Nurk's passing? Do you think we should run more of our offense through him? And honestly, I don't necessarily think it's calling plays for Nurk to be a facilitator. He's used as an outlet option at the high post or even top of the arc, and I think it's honestly using him as that outlet option in the half court and then making the right cuts because he will find guys. Last night in that Mavericks game, he had 5 assists in the first half, and that was just off guys cutting. It wasn't even off any set action. It was just freelancing and moving well without the ball and Nurkic finding guys, which he can do. And I think that's something that could help our offense instead of having it be stagnant and use Nurk at the high post or the top of the arc as a facilitator and just have guys cutting off of each other, setting screens, setting pin downs, setting curl screens, slipping back door, running baseline, that type of thing. I'm not even going to try and say this person's name. They say, what do you think? Baldwin and Swanigan replacing Stauskas and Leonard. I think that we have too many shooters on the bench and need a solid defender and need another person to catch the rebound. Now, Leonard is getting around 11 rebounds per 36 minutes or something like that. He's not rebounding bad at all. I don't even think Swanigan would be a better rebounder than Myers Leonard, believe it or not, because Swanigan has his athletic limitations. But that bench unit, in my opinion, would struggle. That's not a cohesive bench unit. You have 2 guys that need the ball that can't really shoot too well in Baldwin and Turner. Swanigan isn't a shooter either, and he hasn't proven to be any sort of NBA player. I think he's more of a G League level player at this point. So that's 3 guys that can't shoot, and it just makes no sense to make that change. Baldwin and Swanigan haven't proven to be any better than Stauskas or Leonard. I think they're worse players, and they're definitely a worse fit. MC Skittles says, thoughts on Trent and Simons? Now, I get asked this question a lot, and we haven't seen them, so I don't really know what else to say that I haven't said in the past. If we have a spell of injuries, hopefully Trent or Simons would be able to step up. As I said before, I think Trent is a little bit overrated as a shooter. I think right now he'd probably be a 34-35% three-point shooter. When he was in high school, before he even got to college, when he was a top 10 ranked player, I watched him at the Hoop Summit, and I didn't think he was the pure shooter that people build him to be. And then he shot 40% at Duke, but he was getting a ton of wide open looks playing next to guys like Jason Tatum and Wendell Carter. I think he's going to struggle to create his own shot, and the defensive end is what's going to make or break him, in my opinion. Now, Simons has been sick for a little bit. I think he's better now. He was on the bench, so I assume he's better. But there was a week or maybe a little bit longer where he was labeled as out due to illness. Now, he wouldn't have played anyway because he would have been inactive as the 14th or 15th guy, but hopefully he didn't lose any weight because we need him gaining weight. So hopefully he's in the weight room working on his body. He definitely needs to get stronger. And then going up against Dame and CJ in practice every day, I think that's just as valuable as some G League minutes. Now, I do think they will opt to send him down to the G League at some point, but when you got a guy like Dame as a mentor in practice and then you have the challenge of guarding those guys, I think that's good. So that's all the questions you guys had for me this week. Make sure to leave a question down in the comment section below and I will try and answer it next week. So that's all I got for now. Happy holidays, True Blazer fans. Go Blazers.